and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Before we get started, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors, AMAC. As we approach another critical election, a wave of concern washes over America. Recent studies reveal that an astonishing 56% of our fellow citizens report feelings of anxiety or dread about the upcoming presidential election. That's why I stand with AMAC. AMAC is more than a senior discount organization. During these challenging times, they fight for common sense and hope that our nation returns to traditional American values. Visit amac.us/Lara today to seize an exclusive election year special, a 4-year AMAC membership for just $30. As an AMAC member, you not only enjoy money-saving benefits, but also the AMAC magazine, free Social Security and Medicare advice, a trusted voice in Washington, and a community of like-minded patriots who love this great nation. By becoming an AMAC member, you're strengthening a movement dedicated to preserving the principles we hold dear. Take advantage of this election year special, 4 years for $30, and be part of the solution over the next 4 years. You can join now at amac.us/Lara. That's amac.us/LARA. Tonight, we're joined by senior editor for Human Events and the host of Human Events Daily, as well as author of the upcoming book, UNHUMAN: The Secret History of Communist Revolutions and How to Crush Them. It's coming out July 2nd. Jack Posobiec. Jack, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again. We love having you, and obviously I have plenty to ask you about communist revolutions. But first, I got to get your take on where we are right now. How are you feeling about the upcoming election? Anything you're looking out for, or anything that maybe makes you think, I don't know, maybe put a little tinfoil hat on? There's a lot of stuff going on out there. What's your take? What do you think?
Well, Lara, first of all, thanks so much for having me on. And should I say, Miss Chairwoman, thank you so much for having me on.
Well, of course. Thank you.
Congratulations on all of your success since the last time I've been here. I love, by the way, that you're still doing the show, even in addition to your duties. Like, this is something that I remember. I remember joking that, we should, during the last administration, that they should just be running podcasts there and live streams like all the time, so people could see what's going on behind the scenes and just totally they call it breaking the fourth wall, right? Break the fourth wall, tear it down, and just let everybody see what goes on. I mean, that's how everything out of Mar-a-Lago and everywhere just dominates social media, because there's no more man behind the curtain. And so, to answer your question, this is where I see the real success that's going on, is that the people have realized that there is no man behind the curtain at all. In our government, in our foreign policy, in our media, what you see is what you get. Our administration is being run by Joe Biden, who I don't think that guy even knows what day of the week it is. I don't even think he knows where he was, where he is. He's clearly not the one who's actually making the decisions, but I don't know that anybody would be willing to actually take responsibility for any of the decisions that have been made by this administration, whether you want to talk the disasters on the world stage, the disaster is in the Middle East, the disasters in Ukraine, to the economic policies here in the United States, which I think are the ones that most people are really focused on. Out of control immigration, out of control border that's completely destroying our economy, that's depressing wages, inflation that's sky high. And then they come out and tell you that, the economy is actually doing really well and don't worry. I'm like, my wife does the Costco runs, all right? You ask her if the economy is doing really well, because if the moms who do the shopping on a regular basis, they know and she will tell you exactly what the Price is Right style of what that shopping cart is going to cost every week. And she's like, Jack, it goes up every week. It goes up every single week, and it's going up faster than we can keep up with. And if we're finding that out, and we're in the DC area, and imagine how bad it is in the rest of the country. And so, when you look at how we are, I think I put it this way. And I've said this many times, and obviously you're in a position to actually affect something like this, that I think that we've won on the issues, but I still think that it's 50-50 in terms of the actual election prospects. And here's why. Because politically, we've won. We've won on every issue. There's no issue where they can come in and they have any standing with the American people. Done. I think the issues side is already won. I think we've won that. I think where we still need to put focus now is operations, is actually execution, is executing that vision and coming out, because we used to say this in the Navy, that it's all logistics. How are we going to win? Where are the boots on the ground going to be? Where are the where are the MAGA centers going to be? Where are the battleground states where we're going to put the most focus? These types of things. How are we going to combat the new mail-in ballot? Or I would say, how are we going to meet the challenge of the new mail-in ballot situations that we find in some of these key states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, et cetera, not telling you anything you don't know. And of course, obviously, we've seen the campaign doing that by pushing to expand the map first into Minnesota, which I think is genius. And of course, my friend Mike Lindell, of course, is from Minnesota. That's where the MyPillow company is. You know, I was going to make a MyPillow reference.
Home state of Minnesota.
Is the home state of Minnesota, Shakopee, Minnesota, and Virginia as well. I think I would say Virginia is in play, and a lot of those, like, I'm a Pennsylvania guy, so I know the East Coast pretty well. I would say probably about 70 to 75% of the people at that Wildwood rally probably were from Pennsylvania and parts of southern Jersey. I think there's a lot of the East Coast and the Northeast in general that are now going to be in play. I think there was a poll yesterday that said New Hampshire, the Grand State, is now 50-50.
It's even.
So
I know.
We're seeing a lot of good signs, and we're seeing a lot of good trends. The trend is our friend, certainly, in terms of a lot of this, but I still come back to operations, and I still know that, look, what can I say? I'm from the Philly area, and it's funny how the vote results out of Philadelphia don't always quite match up what the polls say. I can't imagine why that would be. It's strange.
Interesting how that goes.
Phenomenon that seems to be going on for the last 50 years or so. But no, I really think that if the president, if the administration, or I should say the administration, the campaign, and obviously everything you're working with the RNC, fires on all pistons, is able to execute going into those last couple weeks, and really that's what it's turned into. We don't have an election day anymore, and people need to understand that. It's not an election day. It's an election period. It's an election season. It's an election, we have to come up with the right term for it, right? An election era, where I'm in my election era. I'm in my voting era. Maybe we could do like little hashtags for that. This is how we win. This is how we win. We have to get into our voting era. And that's, and the key part of this, of course, is what have we seen that Donald Trump has been able to do that no other Republican anywhere has able to do? He's bringing people into the party. Right. And he's bringing people into the party, which, by the way, includes African Americans and Hispanics, which was the way the old party always claimed they wanted to get these groups in. But their idea was, we're going to pander to them. We're going to pander to them, and we're going to, hold all these like events and
ironically is what Joe Biden himself is actually doing, Jack. Like, constantly
doing.
It's so gross.
Whereas what people have understood about Donald Trump is that he focuses on economics. He focuses on righting America's ship when it comes to the business side of things, making people money, increases in real wages. It's like, hey, let's all go out there and work jobs and work hard and get rich together. And you know who wants to do that? Everybody. And so that's what's really cut across so many things, that these aren't, pro-Republican policies or pro-one group policies. No, they're just pro-America policies, and they're going to be better, and they will be better. That's what's dominated. The key, I think, that I talk about constantly on Human Events, is turning those new Trump supporters into new Trump voters, because many times these low propensity and no propensity voters, they just don't have a history of voting. They don't have a culture of voting. And so it's getting to them, and especially in some of these states where, you have your mileage may vary, but you have a plethora of options when it comes to voting now, and really meeting those people where they are and getting their ballots in as easy as possible.
Yeah, well, I hope people are noticing that what you referenced and what you are saying we should probably focus on, we are doing from the RNC. And first of all, let me say, we are trying to expand the tent of this party, and not just for 2024. We want people here voting, for our party and the people that we're putting up to run our country and to represent us across the country. We want them voting in the next election cycle and in election cycles to come. And I think you're right. We have to capitalize on this moment right now to do it. We are utilizing our grassroots friends all across the country to talk to people, to engage with people, to ensure that this is a free and fair election. We have an election integrity program now at the RNC. It is the bulk of the folks that we actually employ at this point are focused solely on that. So we're trying to do everything we possibly can do to make sure that Donald Trump, as popular as he is and as great as his policies actually were for people, as you just point out, we take that and we translate that to votes on election day or election season, as you referenced. And so we're working hard at that. But, something we see happening, Jack, communist tactics being employed against Donald Trump to obviously keep him off the campaign trail, to throw mud his way, to sully him in the eyes of the American voter. And hey, if they can lock him in jail, that's the cherry on top for them. And it is very communist in nature. But you talk in your new book, UNHUMANS, about the history of communist tactics. Tell us about this book and why you decided that this was the book you needed to write right now.
Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And if you turn on the news right now, and I think it becomes very clear why it was so important to write this book right now. I mean, there's that old phrase, you might not be interested in communist revolutions, but they're very interested in you. You better wake up also because you're in one. You're actually in one. And
right.
We talk about this in the book. They say, well, it doesn't look like a communist revolution of the past. This doesn't look like the Chinese Cultural Revolution. This doesn't look like the Spanish Civil War, the Russian Civil War, the Bolshevik Revolution. And so I say, well, no, of course, because warfare has changed in the same way that revolutions have changed over the years because we have new advances in weaponry, new advances in, of course, technology, and new advances in the way that we share information, the way we interact with the world. The way that we go through this now, and this, of course, is expressed in military terms that I learned as an intelligence officer. We talk about fourth generation warfare, and now we talk about fifth generation warfare. Fifth generation warfare is the utilization and synchronization of social media, information systems, information narratives, as well as on-the-ground events and on-the-ground units to then create new realities and new narratives, but essentially narrative warfare in the information battle space. In order to create a desired outcome. So I say this all the time that, I say, where's the revolution being fought? I say, it's not being fought in the streets. It's being fought on the little pieces of glass that we all hold in our pockets, and those notifications as they fly in, that's the information warfare. That's what we're going through right now. And so, no, you're not going to see it as you walk down the street. But guess what? Walk down the street and, say that, say that Dr. Fauci lied and people died, and see what reaction you get if you're in like a liberal area, or my wife doesn't like when I do this sometimes, but we'll be in public, especially in the DC area. I think we did it at the Cherry Blossoms this year, and I walked out and I said Joe Biden didn't win the election, and people just lose it. They just lose their minds. They absolutely lose their minds. And so you realize that there's a total information war going on, because if you say one of those things, it just bursts their bubble. And it totally gives you this revolutionary style response, which is what we would see in a communist revolution. Certainly anyone who studied the Bolshevik Revolution or the Chinese Cultural Revolution of the 1960s would understand what this is like. And so we don't need the little red guard out in the streets, although occasionally, if you look on campuses, you do see outgrowths and outbursts of this type of activity. And so what we typically see, though, in this situation, and we go into this in the book, and more importantly, we go into how to disrupt it, how to dismantle it, and how to destroy it, and totally derail their revolutions. One of the main tactics we see are the tactic of micro-revolutions, and this is a key component of the fifth generation, what we call irregular communist revolution. And in a micro-revolution, that means a micro-revolution gets launched maybe against a certain person or maybe against a certain group. Harrison Butker is a great example. This guy gives a commencement speech. He's a traditional Catholic. He's at a traditional Catholic institution. I also happen to be a traditional Catholic. That's not the point, though. But he gives a speech that is totally germane to where he is, and an entire micro-revolution is launched against him. People are calling for him to be denounced. People are calling for him to be fired, simply for him getting up there and articulating classic Catholic religious beliefs that have been held for thousands of years, that have always been held by the church. And this is not something that's controversial in any way. But of course, that's not the point. The point is the revolution is to destroy him, to dismantle him, to defame him, to smear him, to go after his family, to go after his children, to go after his job, to go after his occupation, to go after his economic situation. And so we see this happening on a wide basis. I'll give you another, just tie it to the news a little bit, because I happened to see this last night. Michael Cohen comes up in the trial yesterday and admits to, and obviously you're pretty close to this story as well, he admits to stealing from the Trump organization. Now, I don't think that really comes as a surprise to anybody, given his history of that character. But what's more interesting to me is that on MSNBC, Lawrence O'Donnell goes up there and starts defending the theft.
Amazing.
And starts demanding it. Well, but here's my point, though. If you take the lens of the micro revolution and the irregular communist revolution, then this should not surprise us in any way. Why? Because communists believe that all owners and all landowners, all property owners are constantly doing what? Exploiting the workers. And therefore theft against your employer is not truly theft because the employer has exploited you and exploited your labor. Therefore, it is not truly theft. The communist does, of course, communists, one of their central tenets is not believing in private property. They believe that property is something that should be shared by all. And so when I hear Lawrence O'Donnell, one of the top pundits, one of the top hosts on MSNBC espousing this, I say, well, that's just classic Marxism right there that he's expressing out publicly. And that's why from a moral framework, he doesn't think there's anything wrong from stealing from someone that he has decided is a quote unquote oppressor. And this is what we see time and again throughout all of history. And in this book, we go back to ancient Rome and the fall of the Roman Republic and the transformation of the empire. We go into Spain, we go into Russia, we go into China, we go to the French Revolution, which is like a proto-communist revolution. And we explain that and unpack it for everyone. We go to Haiti, all around the world, and we explain it always fits into this oppressor-oppressed mindset, this oppressor-oppressed lens. And once you see it, you can never unsee it. And there I am watching MSNBC, and I say, well, there it is again.
All right, very quickly, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Swiss America. Our country is facing so many problems these days under Joe Biden. The last thing any of us need is more to worry about. Unfortunately, we now have to fear losing our freedom and privacy with the Democrats' new push for a digital dollar that could allow the government to tell us what we can and cannot buy with our own hard-earned money. That's why I'm encouraging every one of you tuning into the show right now to get The Secret War on Cash, an insightful report created by my friends at Swiss America. With this report, you'll learn how to protect yourself from the threats facing our freedom and your hard-earned money. The report is available right now to my listeners free of charge. Just call 1-800-289-2646 or visit www.swissamerica.com/Trump for your free report. If you suffer from chronic pain, listen up. Here's a way to help you get real relief. As a fitness fanatic myself, I understand recovery is just as important as the workout itself. But whether you're recovering from an injury or just looking for everyday relief from pain in your joints and muscles, nerve pain, fibrosis, and inflammation, I recommend Golden Revive Plus from Up Wellness. This advanced all-natural formula combines 6 powerful anti-inflammatory ingredients, including a proprietary turmeric extract that's 200 times stronger than raw turmeric. All of this to address the root cause of your pain, reducing scarring, swelling, and tissue damage using the healing powers of nature to help your body heal itself. Formulated by husband and wife team Doctors Josh and Amanda Levitt, Golden Revive Plus gives you real pain relief and better range of motion, plus better heart, eye, and brain health. Join the over 300,000 Americans who are already using Golden Revive Plus to get and stay pain-free. For a limited time, you can try Golden Revive Plus for 30% off at goldenrevive.com. Just use promo code Trump at checkout. Wow. And by the way, Jack, that is exactly the way they're teaching our kids. They're not teaching our kids that this is a merit-based society in any way and that they have to earn whatever it is that they have in America. They're teaching them that some of them that they're oppressed in a way that they can never overcome and that there is always this oppressor situation. It's why they've been able to galvanize so much support for a terrorist organization, Hamas, in the Middle East. It is outrageous and wild that we're in a time where you actually have college students championing this sort of thing. This is what they're teaching our children right now, Jack. People are very upset by this, and it feels almost like we're in a bit of a helpless situation. But do you see a way out of our current state? Because that is exactly what they are trying to do and infiltrate and indoctrinate into our children.
This is right. And a big part of this also is that we have to stop talking about things and actually do something about it at some point. I think we all kind of agree the situation is grim. I think we all agree that the situation has gotten to where it is. Certainly, I would never deem to say that to your family because I can't think of anyone that's doing more to fight this than anyone with the last name Trump and every single member of the family that's been fighting so hard and has been punished severely for standing up for the rights of all American people and actually doing something to show what a successful, achieving family that seeks excellence and seeks greatness. That's something we say in the book as well. We shouldn't be a country that seeks equity. We should seek excellence. Right. This is a key difference because if you're constantly seeking equity and equality, you will diminish anything that is excellent. And so for people, and I get it, not everyone's able to achieve that in all things. People have different talents. That's a central part of Christian belief, by the way, that people are given different talents, and it's what we do with those talents. But not everybody's going to be the best basketball player. If you're 5'3", you're probably not going to be in the NBA, right? It's just kind of how it goes.
You can still enjoy it out there, but you're probably not going to get paid to do it.
You can have a great time. And so, and this is what it's all about. It's about we cannot have equality of outcomes, but we should celebrate and strive to achieve excellence wherever possible. And that is the type of country that can produce a program that puts a man on the moon. The only country that has put human individuals on another planetary body is, or I should say was, the United States when we were great. And I think that is the pinnacle of where we should be. And going back to the stars, this is our birthright as Americans. We are the greatest country on the face of the planet, and it's about time we start acting like it. So when I talk about, number one, this bias towards action, that's number one. Number two, reciprocity. These attacks will not stop until they are stopped. And this is something that we learned throughout all revolutions from a communist bend throughout history. They are not stopped until someone or some group rises up and stops them. Now, this can, of course, be achieved through many ways. One of my favorites that I talk about right now is why are we not using lawfare against the other side? Where are the lawsuits? Where are the investigations? Where are the subpoenas? Where are the hearings? Haul every single one of these up. You talked about a number of these organizations that were running the campus protests. Where are the RICO investigations in every single jurisdiction where there's a Republican AG, or I would say we don't really have many DAs, but an AG or a governor, if this was done in the state of Georgia or the state of Texas, go after, and I'm not just talking about the people that are blocking the streets. Now, obviously blocking the streets, you go straight to jail,
but
no
what's
question.
Behind them? You're exactly right. We got to dig deep.
We need to go through the networks. We need to go through the money laundering that's going on. We need to throw subpoenas against GoFundMe and any organization that's involved in this. And it's very simple. And it's this bias towards action. And I think there's a bit of an old club on the Republican side that is kind of timid when it comes to actually responding to these things. There's people who have this, and I don't want to say anything to put you in a spot or at all, but there's this kind of mentality out there among some classic establishment Republicans where it's the go along to get along mentality. It's the old boys club, and they don't want to do anything to upset the apple cart because they don't mind if they actually change anything on the ground as long as they're still getting paid. And that's essentially what they do. They are paid to lose. They are paid to be the opposition. The Washington Generals, that you're a basketball fan, the Washington Generals that play the Harlem Globetrotters, they get paid every night. They get paid every single night to lose to the Harlem Globetrotters. And I'm sorry, I don't want to be part of a movement like that anymore. I want to be the team that beats the Harlem Globetrotters at their own game.
Well, that's the only way we go forward. I mean, I think it's one of the things we really had to take a hard look at in this election, because we really as a party have to change the way we operate, and we have to adapt. And the truth is, we've kind of had this mentality, like you're saying, a little timidness. Well, we're not going to get down in the dirt. That's for the Democrats. Yeah, we're getting in the dirt.
If we do it, they might do it too. They might do it to us. I'm like, they might do it to us. They've arrested our candidate 4 times.
Right.
They put him on trial. They're putting people in jail for praying on the steps of the Capitol. There's another guy they're trying to put in jail because he posted a meme in 2016 making fun of Hillary voters. What else could they do? What else could they do that they aren't already doing? So, oh goodness, they might do something to us back. I mean, it's quite frankly, it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous to say something like that when we can turn on the TV every day and see what is being done to us. And I say, look, it's time for a little fighting fire with fire. And I'm not saying for everyone. I'm not saying for everyone, but I do have a list.
Well, we like that. We got to keep people accountable for things. And I think we have the best possible leader of our party right now in order to make these changes that we really need if we want to win future elections. This one for sure, but future elections. I mean, you need Donald Trump type energy, quite frankly. And that's what I hope this party, we're trying to galvanize all of that and really apply it. And I think we will. And I think look, they're not going to make it easy for any of us, but we win this election, Jack, but it's not over because we still have a lot of work to do as an entire country. And, you know, the book you wrote, obviously, I think is so important because so many people aren't paying close attention. You know, you and I have talked in the past so much about China. It's something I am very, very, I'm constantly warning people about. And I don't think people really have the gravity of that situation at hand. I don't think they really understand. This book that you wrote, though, I think is vital for people to truly understand what is going on and how they can see it themselves, but then what they do about it. What are you hoping after people read your book, they walk away with? What do you hope the end result is after somebody picks that up, reads it, and gets all that information?
Well, of course, I've hoped that they go and tell 10 of their friends to go to unhumansbook.com and buy signed copies as well. But in addition, country-wise, what I hope also happens is that people realize that we actually do have a fighting chance. Is the system rigged? Sure, fine, whatever. But that doesn't mean you do nothing. That doesn't mean you sit back and take it anymore. That doesn't mean. And look, I'm from the Philly area, right? We don't go down without a fight. And it's as simple as that. And the Donald Trump movement, very much so. The MAGA movement is a New York-based movement. It was born on Fifth Avenue at Trump Tower, and it's all about fighting back. And every once in a while, hey, yeah, if you're going to get in a fight, yeah, you might get your hands a little dirty. You might get your hands a little dirty. You might get some dirt under your fingernails. That's okay. Just rub it off. Just rub it off and keep going the next day, because we're going to have to go through the fire. And you remember, I grew up going to Valley Forge pretty much every week as a kid. Look at what our forefathers went through to get us this country. Look at the suffering and the starvation and the freezing conditions that the Continental Army had to go through. People deserting. George Washington they almost called it quits. They were telling him, George, just walk up. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. He would go out and he would pray and he would say, we'd stay the course. Stay the course. And the British have taken New York, they've taken Philadelphia. He's like sitting out in a field and they're offering him terms. They're saying, just come back, kiss the crown, bend the knee, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. And he said, no American bends a knee to anyone other than God. No American bends the knee to anyone other than God. And I think it's about time that we start remembering the attitude and remembering the service and sacrifice of Valley Forge and understanding what it means and realizing that if we want to go to get our country back, and I don't just mean at the high level like Donald Trump and the things that he's doing and this great men of means level, Elon Musk, another great freedom fighter, by the way, who's really been activated lately. And you see more and more people getting activated. This is a huge sign of optimism, by the way, that this can be done at the local level. And we talk about this so much. We talk about setting up community centers, MAGA community centers, where people can just go and meet and talk about what they want to do on their school board, what they want to do if, for folks that live in an area where you've got the Second Amendment, you set up a gun club, set up a gun group, you go to the range together, that type of thing. And just really creating that sense of community with people that's been totally robbed from us. And we kind of talk a little bit about how HUD got involved in the 1960s and 70s and was smashing cities and towns and breaking up all those tight-knit relationships. We have to do the work, right? We have to do the work, to borrow a phrase from the left, of actually rebuilding those networks. And we can do it. We can do all of it. It's just going to take time. And I'm sorry, but we might have to put down the Netflix. We might have to put down, the social media every once in a while, but we're going to use these things as tools to recreate, and what we call for at the very end is the founding and the reflourishing of a new American republic.
Yeah, it's important. You know, they always say freedom is only one generation away from extinction. We've heard that before. I think it's palpable right now. And I think now is a time where people understand really what's at stake and understand that they can't be passive in our country. You can't just sit back and think that everything is going to go the way you want it. Sometimes you have to get involved and you got to fight for it. And that's exactly where we are.
To take a phrase from the left, we like to say it's not enough to simply oppose communism. You must become actively anti-communist.
There you go. And that's exactly right. Remind people again, Jack, where they can get the book. Where can we find it?
The book, the main page for the book is unhumansbook.com. It's, of course, Amazon everywhere else. But if you go to unhumansbook.com, you can get the signed copies from myself and our great co-author, by the way, Joshua Lysek. He's fantastic. Everybody's going to love this guy. We've been doing joint interviews. And we're actually doing the book launch coming up here at the Turning Point Action event in Detroit. President Trump is also speaking at the event. We're going to be doing the book launch there. So if you go to unhumansbook.com, you can get an early signed copy on June 15th, almost a month before the official release date, and we'll be there. Get to meet you in person.
And June 15th, if people remember, in 2015, I believe that was the day before Donald Trump came down the Golden Escalator. June 16th was the day.
That's a good pull. That's a good pull. Most people don't.
Yeah,
most people didn't put that together.
There you go. Yes, so I don't know what you were doing there, Jack, but I love it.
Little purpose there.
I love it. You're the best. Get it past you. Where can people find you? Anything else you got coming out we need to look out for?
Oh, yeah. If you want to find me, just go to MediaMatters.com, and I'm pretty much every headline on there.
Yeah. I hear that.
They love me.
Yeah,
I'm everyone that's not Lara Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Anything you got coming out we should look out for, Jack? Coming up? You're always just keeping it real.
Other than the book, we've got a few tours coming up. We've got a few events coming up we're going to be doing a whole book tour for this. We're going to be doing a lot of hits, and stay tuned, folks. Just stay tuned.
Oh, more to come. I love it. Jack Posobiec, thank you for joining us. Everybody at home, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. We'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View.
And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out.
Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.